and welcome for the 5th installment of our West Everett High School Powder Puff Media Day special, 68 years of West Everett Powder Puff football, and we're excited about another one this year. Myself, Mr. Morrell, along with Mr. Pancella, and our special guest today is junior Gavin Shields from the class of 2020, our Powder Puff insider. So it feels like yesterday we were sitting in this room getting ready for Powder Puff 17. Mr. Pancella, what are the juices flowing in this building for Powder Puff 18? This is usually a really exciting time of year for our juniors and seniors.
It's funny you ask. It's something you and I have been talking about. Is there any momentum or any fierce competition behind this game this year? I haven't heard a word about it. I actually thought maybe teams forgot about it or maybe it wasn't happening this year. So I'm a little uncertain about where we're at. Is this the last installment of the Powder Puff tradition?
In the past, we've gotten rosters, numbers, trash talking well in advance of this show. This year, these rosters were 10 minutes ago.
We just got one 14 minutes ago.
The original rosters were at 8 o'clock this morning. So the question is, do the female student athletes that participate in this and the male coaches that participate in this, do they still want to compete? Or is the competitive fire of West Everett's Powder Puff, is it going to end? Is it going to dissolve into smoke at the end of 2019?
I'm wondering, is this where we're at in athletics in general? I hate to even go there. Is there no excitement anymore? Is it just, I'm a SoundCloud rapper. I'm famous on YouTube. Social media is everything. Forget sports. We don't need to compete. But meanwhile, 2 years ago, we had Donniebrooks out there. 16-13 overtime games. Yep. Girls getting after each other, broken fingers, maybe some fist fights. I don't know where we're headed, but it's going to be here next week whether we like it or not. Maybe we're going to do our part.
Maybe we can call back the class of 2018 to come teach the class of 2019 and 2020 how to compete. But we wouldn't want to do that because we know the telltale of that, how that ends in a 28-0 absolute destruction of the 2019 class a year ago. Gav, you're on the streets, man. You're with the people.
I am.
What are you feeling out there?
I'm feeling the same way. I like to agree with you guys on this. I'm like, there's no grit in this game. There's no grit. And between these two classes, last year we look at the loss by the previous juniors, now seniors, 28-0. 28-0. And what have you changed coming into this year? I haven't seen any change. I've talked to some of the coaches. They have the same attitude as last year, is what I'm thinking. Now, class of 2020, I'm going to make a bold pick on this one. Class 2020 is coming hot. We're coming at you, all right? I don't mean to sound biased at all, but that's just how I'm feeling. I'm going to look at one of the sleepers, Mackenzie Jupin, playing linebacker. I'm telling you right now.
Well, before we break down the teams, and clearly you're a junior supporter.
I wouldn't say that, but yeah, sure.
Let's go back. Let's talk about the returning group. Let's talk about the group. Mr. Pancella, off the air before we got here, you said your last words to me were experience will win this game. Well, let's talk about the experience group, the class of 2019. Will they be able to step up to the plate and put a product on the field that's worth watching? Because last year what we saw on the field was absolutely, we almost ended the game early. The coaches were fighting on the sideline. I believe Coach Makai Sawyer-Smith at halftime it was reported that he quit. threw the clipboard and said, "I'm done. You guys coach yourselves." Well, I see his name right here again on the staff. What do you think about this year's seniors?
I don't know what to think. You and I picked the class of 2019 last year, figuring they were ready to go. A lot of hype around them. They were trying to kick a last-second field goal just for pride, and they're still arguing about it this year. I was just down there with Vincent Pierce and Makai Sawyer-Smith. They're telling me the field goal was good. That trophy reads 28-0 seniors 2018. So that field goal was not good. And yes, you put up a goose egg, and we're wondering what's coming back. The big question for me is, and not to jump right into the rosters, is Riley Goggin was the quarterback of the class of 2019 last year. You looking at the roster right now, do you see her listed?
I do not. There is no Riley Goggin on the list that I'm looking at.
And I'm wondering, is this some type of holdout? Is she looking for more money? Or was this she doesn't want to go back to a team that didn't want to compete?
Yeah, I think that's what it is.
But like we've said before, tradition has shown that having experience in the game has played a role. We have the seniors now at 68 wins and 0 losses in the history of Powder Puff. And unfortunately, or fortunately, I took a look at last year's video, and this is back in November. I did pick this class of 2020, the juniors. So I am going back again and picking a junior class against that 68-0 record to win this game this year.
The question is, and I'm curious to get your input on this, for the class of 2019, the seniors, clearly there were some upset and hurt feelings at the end of last year. What have you done in the last 365, seniors? What have you done? You know, this coaching staff I'm looking at, Mike Dorenzo, Kevin Demers, Vinny Pierce, Jagger Angelestro, Joey Titano, Makai Stewart-Smith, Matt Wilson, Luke Colella. I know they're looking, you know, they're scrambling right now. They came into my office earlier. Mr. Morrell, are football players allowed to be on staff? Yes, they are. So now there's a scramble to get them. But what does that say about their commitment to developing their team over the last 365 days if they're scrambling to get other assistant coaches a week before the game?
Yeah, it feels to me like they need help. They need outside help right now.
Yeah.
They have internal problems within the coaching staff, as you said before, and they just need help. Clear as that.
What's your, as a junior class of 20, what is your number one concern about the opponent?
The opponent?
What I don't want to say scares you, but what do you have to be aware of dealing with this crew of seniors?
I'm aware of the juniors class will to tackle someone, grab the flag, get after it.
I get it. What are you concerned about with the seniors?
Oh, what I'm concerned about with the seniors?
Yeah.
I would say their roster right now. Looks like they're a little slim. Do they have enough people to back it up?
Is there anybody on this roster that says you got to stop them? Who would you stop? You know, Gavin Shields, 2-year starting linebacker for West Effort football. You're breaking down your opponent. Who are you saying, hey, we got to stop this person to have a chance to win the game?
We got to stop Devin Sullivan.
Devin Sullivan. Agree?
I agree. I was watching some highlights from last year's game, even in a 28-0 route. She was competing, and if we've seen anything on our sports fields here, she loves to get after it. She refuses to lose. I think she will be a problem for this junior class.
I know you'll agree with me on this one. There's another name on this list that needs to strike some fear into the hearts of the class of 2020, and that's somebody that did not play a year ago.
It's a huge addition to the team.
Coming off of injury last year, right? On the sideline, benched. Back this year, she just completed a really strong soccer season, and that's Leah Swetansky.
That's a fair point.
And, you know, Devin Sullivan is going to be Devin Sullivan. When you have Leah Swetansky and Devin Sullivan, now you've opened up the potential for a lot of offense, certainly toughness. But, you know, who's the quarterback? Can Genevieve Philippone get it done this year?
That's what we've heard. Is she playing quarterback? As of right now, my inside sources say she is. She's been out of competition for a little bit. Mm-hmm. She's a wonderful athlete. She's a good competitor. Can she get the ball into the hands of those two dynamic runners? I mean, that's a two-headed monster, but we don't even know what position they're playing, and I don't know if the seniors know what position these guys are playing.
The list I'm looking at right now, ladies and gentlemen, that we got 15 minutes ago now, has 5 names on it that were not on the 8 a.m. list that we got. Is this the seniors just trying to throw names in there so they don't look as slim pickings? Now, another name on here that we have to be aware of is Anna Wright. Anna Wright was not on the original roster. She did play a year ago. So is that another holdout, or is this just is this mind games?
Yeah, they're playing games with us right now. And that's my problem with class 2019. They don't have enough depth within their roster. I mean, we bring up 3 people: Devin Sullivan, Leah Swetansky, Anna Wright. Now I look at this junior class. I'm looking at 10 or 11 studs on this team. We're looking at Hallie Dreger, captain, quarterback. Started on field hockey since she was a freshman. All right, we're looking at Tanai Westcott, fast, agile, ready to get after it. Mackenzie Jubin, as I already stated. Carrie Russo, who's not a captain on this team, which I think she should be, but I'm not a coach. I'm not going to go into that. But another great athlete started freshman year, and lacrosse and field hockey. So, I mean, those are 4 people. I can name many more, but I don't want to get into that with you guys.
The quote as we transition into the juniors from I'm going to keep him an unidentified senior coach who may have quit during the middle of the game last year was, I watched the junior practice. It wasn't anything concerning. That's the word.
I heard something similar, and the way he might have gotten a glimpse at some of this practice, from what I've heard, is through social media. That some of the juniors were broadcasting their defense over social media outlets. And Coach Mackay Sawyer-Smith may have gotten a glimpse or taken a screenshot.
Well,
I don't know enough about it.
That's the way the class of 2020 is coming at it, saying, this is what we run. This is what we do. Get ready.
I think that's a very West Everett mentality.
I agree with you.
Hey, we're running wing T. We're running right at your face.
Right, you know what you're getting, and if you didn't, now you know. What are you going to do with that information?
Exactly.
I think, in my heart, it tells me there's a little fear in the seniors. Now that they know and they see it, it's like, can we prepare?
If you have to worry about watching the other teams practice and worry about what they're doing, then you're doing something wrong as a team.
And again, all they're thinking about is 28-0. We thought we had the offense figured out. We were going to score some points. Shutout.
Interesting, both teams have kickers, it seems like. Right, there are some kickers. And 2 years ago in the 2016 game, it did come down to field goals in overtime. Right? For those of you who don't know, maybe this is your first round with Powder Puff. In overtime, it's a field goal competition. Ball needs to be snapped, held, and kicked successfully. 2 years ago, I don't remember who the 2 kickers were. But
Caroline Perry for the juniors.
Yeah.
And
for the seniors.
It was Gabby. Wasn't it?
Gabby Saleo hits the game winner.
Hits the game winner from, I want to say, 38 yards out.
Yes, sir. You are correct.
And
crazy.
And it was unbelievable. But that was, we only had competitors.
Yeah.
Right? That's when we had competitors. We don't have that anymore. Mr. Panchel, this could be 0-0, shut it down at halftime because nobody wants to come out and play anymore.
Yeah.
And I don't know if you've checked the weather forecast. We'll be playing in 20-some degree weather. That there may be both teams checked out.
Yeah.
It may be you versus me, Oklahoma drill, while the officials are there calling no penalties, as we've always had in the past. I really don't know what to expect this year. I look at these junior coaches, a lot of new faces. Our Coach Tassir Money and Coach Ty Bookman going to get too in-depth with their football knowledge. And what can Coach Carter Cranmer bring? Logan Nichols has some football knowledge. I see about 57 coaches listed. I don't know how that plays. Are the responsibilities divvied up?
Yeah.
Are they breaking things down? And are they working on all 3 phases of the game?
Yeah, and what bothers me about what I've noticed in Powder Puff coaching is the coaches on the sidelines seem to want to make it more about themselves than the actual game that's going on in the field. Although I thought last year's senior class did a nice job. They were that was a tight-knit group. My recommendation as a former Powder Puff championship coach, class of 2001, 21-7 over the class of 2002, would be you need to just make sure you have disciplined, tough players. That is it. You could run 2 plays all game long. Your players need to know what they're doing, where they're going, and they better do it with some toughness. And if you don't have that, then you got no shot. No shot.
I think it's also important to note that there needs to be one voice. Is that Coach Cranmer's voice, or are there going to be 10 different voices giving information? I'm hoping these seniors have learned from last year that you're going to need a leader on the sideline that puts people in the right spot to make plays, and you got to let your athletes be athletes. Yep. But, like you've said, oftentimes we see it's the coaches arguing on the sideline or talking too much, or you take a timeout and nothing's happening. Can you be organized enough to calm it down or weather a storm or you get down early? We're gonna find out what these girls are made of and who really wants to compete, in all different phases of this game and in our athletics department in general. We'll learn a lot about these kids.
So to wrap up our initial media day coverage here before this, in the next segment we'll go to our junior and senior captains and coaches and really get some inside scoop and an inside look on exactly how they're preparing. But as we always do at this time, Gavin Shields, It's time to make your prediction. Right? My friend here had to, we both had to eat some crow last year, but now you're clearly committed to the juniors, and we'll be to you in a minute. But Gavin Shields, I know you are, full-blown class of 2020, but give us your honest, analytical prediction of a score and outcome for next Wednesday night.
All right, if I'm going to break this down, it's going to be the class of 2020. All right? It's going to be a hard
Now,
fought.
you understand that in 67 years of West Everett
I clearly understand that.
The record is 67 seniors.
And bring it back, class of 2020, 8th grade, no team has ever been the staff in a student versus staff basketball game. Now, I mean, I know that's in the past.
Grade.
8th grade.
Student versus staff basketball.
8th grade.
Excellent.
Now, I don't know about mentality, but I don't think that's changed since 8th grade. Maybe physical, but mentality is not.
Okay.
Mr. Burrell.
Final score?
Final score? 7-0.
Whoa. Woo!
Defensive Donnybrook. One touchdown makes the difference. I like it.
Yeah.
I like it. Mr. Panchella?
I'm going to have to go 20-17 juniors. And yes, that does include 2 field goals from the juniors and 1 from the seniors. I believe kicking will be a factor. Just a side note, Melissa Hires was the seniors kicker last year. Not listed on the roster this year. She did hit a boot at the end of the game last year. It did go wide left, as we've seen on film. So I'm wondering where their game is at, but I believe they have some players on that team that can fill in her shoes, and I think we'll see some field goals in the game.
I am going to go 21-0 senior class of 2019 and what will go down in history as one of the most uneventful Powder Puff games ever played. I completely see dominance from the senior athletes, and I see a junior sideline in shambles, but a senior group that's just not good enough to pile it on and make it a 50-0 game. If they could, they would, but the seniors just aren't good enough to make it 50-0. So it'll be 21-0, and the juniors will be left licking their wounds as they try to figure out, how do we bring this thing together for next year. So, that's what we want to see. That's what we want to see, and it'll be 68-0 seniors after this one. They'll be hoisting the trophy at the December pep rally. So unfortunately, juniors, that's what it is. I want to make sure you're honest. Doesn't mean I don't love you, but that's the honesty. All right, well, that's going to wrap it up for our 2018 Media Day thoughts. We will be back in our next segment to talk to our juniors and seniors and get their take on the upcoming Powder Puff Football 2018. Don't move.
Welcome back, ladies and gentlemen. Myself, Joe Panchella, and Mr. Jason Morrell here. We are joined by head coach Mike DiRenzo and associate head coach Kevin Demarest. I believe he told me that's how we say it.
Kevin.
He somehow got the title of associate head coach this year. So Coach DiRenzo must feel high about what Kevin's been doing out there on the practice field. They are the returning coaches from last year's close loss, 28-0 to the class of 2018. But they say they've made some adjustments, and that's why we have them here today. So I'll start with the head coach, Coach DiRenzo. What's going to be the difference this year with your team?
The difference we really focused on in practice, unity, working as a team. Last year throughout practice we focused solely on each player and their position and what they were doing. This year we're trying to teach every player, every aspect of the game and everywhere they should be, no matter.
Do you think unity and togetherness is going to be enough to get it done in 2019?
I think with our experience from last year, and we've changed some other things too, but I think the main thing we changed was the unity in the team.
You said experience. I think you hit it on the head. Mr. Panchella had alluded to it earlier in the show, that experience will have a lot to do with the outcome. One of the key positions when you talk about experience in Powder Puff football is quarterback. And we talked about it earlier. Riley Goggin was your quarterback in 2017. She is not only not your quarterback this year, she is not on your roster. Why?
Certain players decided that they didn't want to play this year. And although the talents we missed, we decided if you don't want to play, we don't want you on the team.
Now, who takes the responsibility for that? Is that a negotiations issue? Is there a contractual issue
on trying to get her on the team?
Yeah.
You know, we can push. She decided she didn't want to play. She didn't sign up. She didn't come to practice. We talked to her along with Miranda Mason, but neither of them seemed like they wanted to play. So after that, we decided, all right, it's going to be that hard to get you on the team if you don't want to play. We don't want you on the team.
Exactly.
Well, we applaud you to staying true to the team rules. You know, no practice, no play. We've got the same in our athletics department, so I applaud you there. Do you think you have the players that can fill into those positions that those two contributed to last year?
100%.
Yeah. Last year we had a much longer roster, and this year, you know, we cut it probably almost in half. I think this year it's more quality over quantity. You know, we can have strength in numbers, but we have several players here who are very athletic and can get the job done.
What have you done over the past 365 days to prepare your staff and your team for next Wednesday night?
You know, a lot of film, past years of Powder Puff. And
what did you learn? What are some of the things you took away from that film?
That I guess, you know, one thing we took away mainly from last year's game is that we weren't as rough. We didn't play the game to its full extent. You know, a lot of the girls were going for the light pulls of the flag and stuff like that. We really need to get in there, you know, get into the grit of it, get hard or go hard. You know, that's what we really took from it, is that we need to play harder. We need to, you know, not think that we're just going to go out there and roll over them. That was a big problem last year. Was our confidence is at an all-time high.
You also had an issue defensively.
Yes.
You gave up 28 points.
Yeah.
Luke Colella was going into this game your defensive coordinator, but we're hearing that there are some changes being made there and that Vinny Pierce is now taking over the defense. Why the change?
Luke, great coach, obviously. I'm not going to take him from that. He wasn't defensively minded. I think as much as Vinny, you kind of see it in practice. You know, Luke will be out there and he's kind of free roaming. He'll help with offense, defense, every here and there. But Vinny is always right with the defense. He's telling people where to go, what to do, and like what plays to make. And
you know, Vinny, he likes to get things done. He likes things done and likes them done all right. So that's why we thought Vinny was a good choice for defensive coordinator.
Now, has that caused any type of controversy amongst your coaches?
No. We're united. We don't.
We all talk to each other, talk it out. We don't have any issues. Every choice we make is agreed upon.
Okay. Now, how about taking a look at this junior roster, class of 2020? Anybody on the roster that concerns you, or anybody you'll be keying in on, trying to take away from?
Yeah, I'm not too worried about the other team. We try to focus on our team mainly. You know, we got Hallie Dreger at quarterback, but she's a little girl. You know, I don't think she's gonna have some issues staying over the line. I think have some issues really getting the ball downfield as well.
I like your approach. I know a man that says nameless faces, nameless opponents. So you guys are basically looking at yourselves right now.
Yeah.
You're focusing
on
what we can do.
That's our biggest opponent.
Completely understand.
I would agree. And part of the reason I would agree with that is, you know, we didn't get a roster until 8 a.m. this morning. We got a revised roster at about 11:45. There were names on the original roster that suddenly showed up on the second roster. Is that a mind game that you're trying to play with the juniors or with the public or with the media? Or are things just not as tight right now as you would like them to be? Example, you know, Brianna Anderson, not on the original roster, on the revised roster. Deanna Corsetti, who for all intents and purposes is not available to play, is suddenly on the roster. Alexandria Ferrali on the roster is not on the original. Kaylee Lang, not on the original, on the revised. Anna Wright, not on the original, suddenly on the revised. What's the strategy behind your roster moves?
Yeah, we don't really have a strategy. It's more or less we took the girls who signed up in the beginning, put them on a sheet. Probably that was our first cut. And then, you know, we had more girls come in. Some girls didn't show up to practice, you know, the no-shows. And so that's how the revised roster came about. It's no games there, but up until today, we didn't really have a reason for a roster. You know, we were, again, focused on ourselves, not as much about what we needed to get out to the public.
Do you feel pressure knowing that the overall record in Powder Puff football at West Defford over the last 67 years is the seniors 67, the juniors 0? There's never been a junior team to upset a senior team. They're not a lot of juice in the building right now, right? We're being honest with each other. Not a lot of talking, not a lot of excitement. But this is a formidable junior team. Do you feel the pressure that you could be the first team in 68 years to lose?
I don't think it's pressure, because we're very confident that we're going to win. We know that. Every girl knows that. We're confident that we know what it takes to win. And I think it's not a matter of trying to take the record. It's a matter of how we want to win. I think all of us are going in wanting a blowout. Will it happen? We'll see. But we all have the mindset that we're going to win.
And to touch upon that, I think if anybody goes into any game without any pressure at all, you're crazy. Yeah. If you're not worried about this person or that person or what might happen if the game starts to run away, then you're not prepared enough. You need to be prepared for everything.
Well, I think that brings us to us then, gentlemen. We're going to have to ask for your prediction and your score so we can put it on film.
I'm predicting I don't think the juniors are going to be prepared in the first half. I think we're going to get a quick, easy 14 points. So 14-0 going into halftime. Coming back out, I think they'll, kind of get a grip on the game, and I think it's going to end 21-7.
I'm thinking a straight up 35-7.
There it is from the coaches. Well, gentlemen, thank you so much. We will see you, next Wednesday night out at the Eagles Nest, and we look forward to seeing what kind of product you guys put on the field. Thanks so much for joining us. We will be right back.
And welcome back to our Powder Puff 2018 Media Day special. Just finished with the senior coaching staff, and now we move on to our senior captains. Ladies, welcome. Very proud to have you here today. Our captains are Jessica Chimento, Jen Philippone, Devin Sullivan, and Leah Switansky. Ladies, let's cut to the chase. 28-0 drubbing a year ago by the class of 2018. At no point in that game did you look like you had a chance. What makes you so confident that you're going to win the game this year?
I really think that the coaches have really stepped it up. The change in the main coach is what really pushed us forward, because instead of practicing as individuals, we're practicing as a unit, and we're coming together and bonding and really becoming strong.
The problem last year was that every girl had one job and they only knew how to do that job, and that was a big problem going into it, because then no one could move around and we just didn't have a lot of people to play other positions.
Yeah, I think it's definitely huge that if your coach throws you in to do something, you should know basically everything, so you're always ready.
I think that especially since we have 1 year under our belt and we got the experience, we know what to expect and what to do.
Absolutely, absolutely. So we've noticed, and we've talked about it a little bit, there's been some roster additions, some roster subtractions. How do you guys feel about where you're at as a team? Do you feel like you're complete, you're missing some pieces, or do you feel like, right now we have a solid team, we feel like we can get the job done?
I feel like the people we have right now that we're all strong, and the people that are coming to practice every day and really putting in work is what is going to make us win.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, everybody has a special job, and I think everyone's filling it out pretty well.
So one of the biggest changes when we talk about experience is that possibly the most important position, quarterback. Riley Goggin, quarterback 2017. Jen Philippone, quarterback 2018.
Well, last year, to be completely honest, the decision of quarterback was not very thought out when we got to the actual game, because by the head coach, there was no prior thinking that if something did happen, we have a backup, because we didn't have a backup. So then Riley got thrown in that position, and she filled it out as best she could. But this year, that's why we're having people fill every position and having backups for every position.
But do you feel prepared?
Yes, 100%.
To take over that position?
Yeah, it was mine, and I'm taking it back.
QB1, I like it. You also add Leah Switansky back into the mix, which I am a big fan of, although I did pick the juniors because I picked them last year after the game when you guys got your butts kicked. And I can't go back on those words now as they are on film. Leah, what do you think you'll bring to the game? And you must be excited to get back after it.
Oh, 100%. Not being able to play last year really built up everything, so I'm ready to just give it my all. And whatever the coaches want me to do, I'll do it no matter where it's at.
She's a beast. There's nothing, nothing else.
Thanks.
There's no other way to put it.
I can't argue it. Ultimate competitor. I couldn't agree more. I know Jess is the same way. Jess also coming in best shape of her life. I know she's feeling good about it. What positions have you been operating at, Jess? If you don't mind sharing with us.
Well, I've definitely been doing a lot of receiving. So I'm assuming that the coaches are going to put me in one of those positions. I missed last practice, so I don't exactly know my position, but I know that I'm definitely going to be more involved this year than I was last year.
Absolutely.
What are some of the things about the class of 2020 that concern you as an opponent?
Nothing.
So you're not concerned about anyone on the class of 2020?
No.
It's a bold statement. One that I feel like you guys said last year about the senior class of 2018. Is that a team mentality where you don't respect, care, worry about anything that the opponent can do? Or is this the leadership mentality?
We respect what they think they can do, but what they can actually do and what they're going to bring to the field is just something we're going to have to see on the night of the game.
Absolutely. Actions speak louder than words.
So you feel the message, and it seemed like it was coming from your coaches as well, is, you know, it's us against us. It's all about what we can do, how we're going to operate. That's a pretty fair statement. You guys are just focusing on.
Yeah, we're our own biggest opponent as, like, our team. Like, how sometimes we, like, obviously, if you guys pointed out, we did have a little, like, gaps in our roster and our coaching staff and stuff like that, but that's just something we, over the next week, really need to come together to get.
And that's my last question. If you could each give us one word that characterizes what you need to do better this year that you didn't do last year, what would that one word be? To each of you individually. Devin, what would the one word be that you need to do differently this year to win the game that you didn't do last year?
Physicality.
Physicality. Jess?
Aggressiveness.
Aggression.
Dedication.
Determination.
I'm getting fired up in here. That's what I like to hear. So should we do it? All right, here we go. Down the line, starting with Jen. Score and prediction. I would assume you're all picking the class of 2019. It would be very bold if you did not, but I am all for that as well.
21-7 seniors.
21-14.
Probably 30-0.
I'm going 28-7.
All right, a confident group of senior captains here for the 2019 seniors. Ladies, thank you so much for joining us. We look forward to seeing you next Wednesday night out at the Nest. We will be right back with our junior head coaches, followed by our junior captains. We'll see you shortly.
Welcome back once again, Powder Puff 2018. We just had the opportunity to meet with our senior captains and coaches, and now we move to the class of 2020, and we start off with our junior coaches. Gentlemen, welcome to the set for the first time for the class of 2020.
Thank you.
Obviously, a high-pressure situation. Big game next Wednesday night. You know, personally, I predicted a 21-0 seniors win in what will be one of the most boring Powder Puff games ever played. And the reason I say that is because there's not a lot of juice in the building around the game or around the teams. How do you respond to that? To the fact that the public feels like the class of 2020 doesn't really care about this game or about being the first team in 68 years to win as a junior class?
Actually, I feel like we have been ready for this forever. I remember freshman year we were like, man, we're gonna beat the seniors when we're juniors. Like we're ready for this.
So I got to ask, you know, the word of the day has been experience. How do you overcome not having the experience of playing in the Powder Puff League?
Because we have competitors. Our girls are ready to play. Like they're going to want to get after it.
So experience in this, you just move your hands away from that too, just because you don't have experience in here either. But
Wow.
My question is, I know right now you guys feel really confident and comfortable. It's a competitive situation. We got good players. We'll be just fine. But next Wednesday night, when the lights shine the brightest, and you're standing on that sideline looking across at the home stands, it can get very lonely. And a great example of that is the class 2019 had some meltdowns on their coaching staff last year. You guys, Money, head coach, came into it a little bit late, weren't at the first couple practices. The head coach was going to be Ben Willett. I guess the staff as a whole made the change. Why the change? And is this last-minute change in head coach an example of maybe some dysfunction from within?
We just felt like we needed more leadership from someone who knows the game more than our original head coach did.
Yeah, I mean, I think Money has a strong feel for the game, and he can break things down for the girls to make it simpler for them. So I feel, he helps out the most, and I think it was a good move.
So as a staff, you guys still feel like you're firing on all cylinders? There's no disconnect after a change within an organization?
Yeah.
We're good.
A lot of professional teams seem to break down when there's problems within. We've also, we've caught wind in the hallways here, and Mr. Shields has filled us in on some things that you guys are publicly displaying your defense on social media. Perhaps the class of 2019 has their hands on that, breaking down your base defense. Do you have any concerns about that your players aren't taking things too seriously? They're putting it out there to the public. I mean, you might as well hand over your playbook if that's how we're going to operate. Just curious, is that a play on your part? Anything you guys are worried about? Anything you want to say about that?
Not worried at all. They can know what we're doing. They're just going to have to get past it. I feel like we have the athletes that you can know our entire playbook, but we'd be able to get stuff done.
Confirmed inside sources from within your organization, quotes that I got today, unidentified, I will keep them. Quote from a player. Right now it's a disgrace. But if we figure things out, we will put up 50. Response.
Well, sometimes during practice, there are some disconnections mentally, but I tend to get them back on track sometimes, and then they go off again. Then we come back on track. When we're on track,
So you would say you're an inconsistent group?
Yes.
An immature, inconsistent group?
Yes.
Immature and inconsistent.
And that comes with inexperience.
What's your team?
How, in the next 7 days, do you fix that?
Our captains are going to be the ones to step up as the coaching staff, and we will get the girls to the point where they're locked in constantly.
Carson, you're coaching wide receivers. What's your passing game look like going into Powder Puff? It's going to be cold, right? It's going to be cold. Ball gets a little bit harder. It's a little more difficult to throw. Maybe some wind. You and offense coordinator Logan Nichols, who last played football as an 8th grader and hasn't played since. What's the conversation that you guys have? I mean, it's not basketball, right? So it's a little bit different. What kind of things are you guys doing to make sure you put your players in the best situation possible? Because it's hard to run in Powder Puff, right? You can't really block, so it's hard to run. Got to be able to throw the ball.
I feel me and Carson, we're on the same page with a lot of things. I feel like our passing game's good. One of our captains is Tanaya. I'll come out and say it. I think she's a stud. I think she can.
She's a quarterback?
She's the wide receiver.
Yeah.
So I think she's going to be a big part for us and one of our main pieces in our offense.
Talk to us about your roster. Talk to us about who are really the key players for the 2020 squad.
To me, I feel like our key players are pretty much all of our captains: Tanaya, Grace, Hallie Dreger. Jupe is going to be amazing on defense.
So you think your captains fill some solid roles, and then you believe you have the pieces underneath that in your depth chart that can get the job done?
I think our captains are going to lead us, and everybody will kind of just follow their lead and step into place and do what they need to do to get the job done.
Give us one word that is a characteristic that if you do this, you win the game. What is one word that you need to do to win the game?
Execute.
Consistency.
Grit.
Just focus.
Good answers right there. I like it. Well, we're gonna see next week. But before we send you guys off, we will get your predictions for the game, starting with Carter.
14-0.
Juniors?
Juniors.
Okay.
Yeah.
Woo!
Seniors, that's us.
I was sweating, but holy smokes.
27-0. Juniors.
Carson?
28-14. Juniors.
I think 28-7. Juniors.
Wow. Well, you heard it here first. We could have our first ever junior victory, and wow, what would be an exciting night if that's the case. So, gentlemen, best of luck as you continue to prepare for next week. And when we come back, we will bring in our junior captains and hear what they have to say about next week's big game. All right, guys, thank you.
All right, and we are back. Thank you to our junior coaching staff. And now we are joined by 3 of the 4 junior captains. Ladies, how are we today?
Good, how are you?
Not too bad, thank you. I will say, before we begin, I did pick you to win the game, 20-17. I had to stay true to my word after I picked you without seeing a roster last year, after I watched the class of 2019 get embarrassed by the class of 2018, and I could not go and pick them again, so I am stuck with picking you guys. Any thoughts on what I just said right there?
It's the right choice.
Yeah, you made the perfect choice.
Why wouldn't you?
68, this will be the 68th year of Powder Puff football at West Everett High School. The overall record, seniors 67 wins, juniors 0. Why you?
Because this is going to be the year. This is our year. We have so much.
But why?
Because we have a lot of potential. Like, we
so
work
you
hard.
think potential wins?
We work hard.
We want
our
it.
practice
And athleticism.
Yeah.
We
We're a
took
team
Spirit
full
Week.
of athletes.
It's interesting. I want to expand on that a little bit. Tonight, you said we took Spirit Week. So is it that? Is it simply your desire is greater to win than the class of 2019?
We just want to win.
That's all we want.
So you guys believe the competitive edge is there, because to us, as outsiders and people who do get excited for this game, we feel there's been no energy around the game, that nobody wants to compete, that people maybe are a little timid or a little afraid to get out on the field and go against some of their classmates. What are your guys' thoughts on that? We didn't even know the game was happening.
Well, once we get out there, I feel like all those nerves are just going to disappear. So
we're going to
I'm not nervous. I don't think we're nervous.
At all.
No.
Once we get on the field, we're going to play the game how we've been practicing hard.
Well, you're locked in the cage and you can't leave at that point. You understand? Yeah. So next Wednesday night, when you're staring across the line of scrimmage into the eyes of seniors who clearly want to rip your throats out.
We want to do the same.
Okay. We are going to do the same.
Because it's a physical game, and we talked earlier about experience. You don't have that experience. What is your coaching staff doing to help you gain the experience that you just don't have in Powder Puff?
I feel like our coaches are doing a good job, teaching us, going over plays and stuff like that. Now that we have money, he's experienced,
Ben Willett, former head coach, got removed for tossing your money. Why? And were you on board with that?
Yes.
Yeah, because
lack
money
of
knows the
coaching,
game.
He just wasn't, physically, mentally, he wasn't there where we wanted to be. We're trying to win.
Yeah.
He wasn't there.
So you guys like the change in power as well, because you feel like you want everyone to be on the same page, and that page is win.
Yep.
Insider quote from a player to remain nameless. When I asked that player how things are going, this is from earlier today. Right now, it's a disgrace. But if we figure things out, we will put up 50. Respond to that.
I feel like we do have some things that we still have to obviously work on and stuff. But practices, that's all we do. All we do is work. So we can fix. They're easy fixes.
Yeah, it doesn't happen overnight.
Yeah,
they'll resolve.
We have time.
7 days. The clock is ticking. Now, your coaches sat in here and called you guys immature, maybe a little childish even. Do you take any offense to that?
Yeah, because I feel like some of us take it seriously. Others, they
Not
fool
so much.
around.
Yeah,
and stuff.
Now, how do you think you get total team buy-in by next week?
I feel as though once we get on the field, it's going to be a whole different mindset, a whole different plan. It's going to be different than just.
Oh, it's going to be different.
Yeah, way different.
My recommendation to your junior classmates is you are either on the train or on the tracks. There is no half in, half out. If you want to win. If you want to win and do something incredibly special. I mean, you're going to have a lot of great moments in the next 2 years of your high school careers, but upsetting the seniors in Powder Puff as the first junior class ever is well worth. I would personally set up a cot in a blockhouse and stay here through Thanksgiving if we have to get it right for the opportunity to do the first thing in school history. Do you feel like your team is headed to that mindset?
I feel like we are, I'm confident.
I'm very confident.
I like that energy from you. Like I
worried.
said, I picked you. I have some doubts. I am also a fan of the Spirit Week. I think that sent a message. The Spirit Stick might be out there on Wednesday night. I think you guys need to bring that mentality that, we dethroned them there and we'll come shock the world and this thing will be 67-1 and Mr. Pancello will finally get a right prediction. Now that sounds like something we can get done around here. Well, ladies, before we see you off here, we'd like to get your score predictions for the game and the class that you think will win, along with your score.
Okay. You can start, Ronnie. You can start.
21-0 juniors.
I say, I say 14-0 juniors.
I say 28-7.
Juniors.
Juniors.
All right, well, there we have it. Coaches, captains, predictions, trash talk, energy, no energy, cold weather, dry weather. Not really sure what we're going to get next Wednesday night, but you can guarantee Mr. Morell and myself will be there every step of the way with Mr. Kirshner documenting this thing because the film doesn't lie.
The film doesn't lie. And this is tape that you'll be showing your children someday. And the question is, class of 2019 and class of 2020, what do you want to put on tape? What do you want your legacy to be? What do you want them to put on your tombstone for Powder Puff football? Greatest ever or just didn't have it? Either way, we're going to find out in about 7 days, and we're excited for it. If there wasn't juice before now, I think there is a little bit. And we will see you then, 7 days in the nest, 7 o'clock kickoff next Wednesday night. Thank you to all who participated, and we will see you there.